Can y'all see?
Child, I thought that was my dang on co-worker one for a minute. I got scared.
Why I feel like I know him too. Like everybody feel like I was like, I see
No.
this.
Yeah.
He's got one of them faces.
Yeah, he got one of them grinder boy faces. All right, moving on. So today we're going to be talking about receiving sexual pleasure. As you all know, keep yourself muted when you're not speaking. Feel free to type your question in the chat box or raise your hand if you want to answer any questions. And we're going to have a lot of questions today, so be prepared. And please be aware that this event is being recorded. As you all know, up until now it gets cut, so all the shenanigans that people don't get to see. Anyways, so today we're going to be talking about givers and takers. Then we're going to watch a short video about the will of consent. Then we're going to talk about how did you learn to be a people pleaser. Then we're going to talk about making friends with your ego, and then the process to receiving sexual pleasure. So let's start with some questions. As always, I love to hear y'all answer. What do you enjoy in sex? And as you know, you can take the floor at any moment.
Domination play, but not in the whole tie me up, beat me down way, just of like the whole first, because first sex is the best sex, period. But I just like when roles can reverse because I can see you in that light, and it's almost like oh, you think you in control? Let me show you something. And it's like I love that. It's not a power struggle, but it's almost like a releasing of power back and forth fluidly. Yeah. I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to answer that question?
Star.
Okay, well, we're going to move on.
Brent, you ain't finna be putting me on no spot. Ain't everybody business. I just kidding. But let me be serious now. Okay, so what I enjoy, I like that overall feeling of like we both nasty. Like I want us to be able to look at each other by the end of the session and just be like, you know what? Okay. Like I like that. I like that type of feeling. I want to be able to look at you and be like, no, you did not do that to me. No, I did not do that to you. It'd be sometimes in sex, you scared yourself. I'd be like, oh, Jesus, I was saying that. I was thinking that. I was doing that. All these bodily fluids. Oh, Jesus. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to share what they enjoy in sex? No? All right. Okay, so when we talk about sex, do you feel like you communicate your like what you want? Do you feel like you communicate during those times, or do you feel like it's sort of, it just whatever happens?
For me, it's like a mixture because I'm very like dead set on consent. Like there's like whenever we're trying, even if it's like new position time, I'm like, okay, I'm about to, so I'll share this because it can be repeated. So like, for example, me and my man, we were like getting it, and there's this position that I wanted to do, and I'd never done it. I always knew I could do it, but I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna show you. But I like let him know. So listen, we were laying there, we cuddling. I was like, I want to try this thing with you, but it was very spontaneous because I didn't know I wanted to do it until that moment. And even like in changing positions, like I just realized I want to do this to you. Like, is that something you'd be, into? And like y'all may say it more, cute, sexual, whatever, but I'll ask that, and then we get into it. And so I think it's like it's a balance for me. Spontaneously, I thought about it, but I'm going to always bring it up and we're going to talk about it. And I'm going to ask you if you like that, because I'm trying to find out if I like that. You know, for me, it's like a seeking to explore what I like.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anybody else want to answer that question? Are you communicating your desires and needs in sex?
I feel like for me, I just kind of more so go with the flow until you're ready to test the waters. That's it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
You're welcome.
I'm the same way. I kind of like to go with the flow. I don't. I usually don't have a discussion about the kind of sex that I want to have before I'm having it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't usually discuss, like, hey, I'm gonna suck your dick right now, or whatever. Like, it just doesn't come up. You know what I mean? It's more just it just happens. Um, and I don't know if anybody else can resonate with that.
Yeah, I think I have experiences like that too. Where it's almost like that energy, your body language, kind of just speaks. That especially in our culture, we do a lot of not speaking. So especially if say you're in the club and you make eye contact, or so it's a lot of nonverbal communication happening, and I think that also you know falls over into like the actual sex too. Sometimes depending on your sexual practices or your experiences, um, like if you're not really communicating what you want necessarily, you just kind of go with maybe what the person is into, and you just kind of experience those things, and maybe you find out you like something or you don't. um yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else want to go in about that? All right. Okay. So, do you initiate sex?
Most definitely. Most definitely. Most definitely. I'm usually always the one to get it started.
Okay.
I will take the crown on that one.
Okay.
I see, and for me, that's where the switching with the domination comes in. Because I feel like initiation is like that. Let me take you on this ride. I'm letting you know you're going on this ride. That is me. And so I like to switch that up. So, like, for example, like so we were laying in bed. I had initiated at first. We went in, you know what I'm saying? We had sex. And then I was lying there and I was chilling. I was content. I just, good. And then he starts me up, start kissing up my back. And I'm like, okay, but I'm along for your ride now. And that was like a whole different, it was almost like a completely different experience that I didn't know I wanted in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought I was satisfied, but you just gave me, I was full on that, but I know I was hungry for this. And
Yeah.
so I like that. I want you to initiate because I need to know that I'm also wanted.
Right. Yeah, that's really good. That's a lot of that is what we're going to be talking about today as well. So moving on, how is your pleasure dependent on others? Anybody can take the floor on that.
Ew. Hey
Hey,
y'all.
this is Kevin. Oh, go ahead.
Hey.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I think, and hey everyone, this is my first time speaking, but glad to be here. I'm enjoying all the kiki. But I think a lot of that goes back to the communication because I mean, if you're not communicating, I think it's hard to let your partner know or whoever that is how you want to be pleasured. So I think it has to do with other people, but also it kind of comes back to yourself as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing, Kevin. Gary, you wanted to go in?
Yeah. So the question is like, how is my pleasure dependent on others?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So like, why are we? I guess my question would be, for my sexual partners, like, why are we getting together? Like, if we're not interested in pleasuring one another, you get what I'm saying? Like, because I know how to pleasure myself. I don't need someone to come over and they're not willing to invest in my pleasure as well. And I'm finding like with some sexual partners, like they're just not invested in that. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna put on my cute ass man tees, if you will, my cute ass man underwear for you. I'm gonna, like lotion up, I'm gonna clean, I'm gonna do all those beautiful things for you. Um, I'm gonna play music to seduce you. I'm gonna pay attention to your body, like the things that make you moan, that make you like grab your hair, that make you like curse out to God. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just really wild to me, when someone comes over and they're not willing to give me like the same experience in return. And the brother who spoke before, I mean, communication does have a lot to do with that. And I'm finding that like I'm a lot more vocal in those types of things, but also like if you can't come through and match my energy, then like why are you here? And please do not expect a call back from me. You know what I'm saying? Because that's literally just a waste of my time at this particular point. Whether it's a one night stand or we about to do a long term thing for whatever amount of time.
Mm.
I think we just need to both come to the thing ready to bring our A game. I don't want your fucking D game. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? The fucking A game because I'm bringing.
Thank you so much, Gary, for sharing. Yeah, I totally agree with all of you. I feel like a lot of our pleasure is well, we'll get into it later, but I feel like a lot of our pleasure is dependent on everyone around us. Um, except for those things that even if you think about it, the music that you listen to, like somebody made that, you know, someone else made that. So we really do need other people, to provide pleasure for us in a lot of different ways that we didn't even think. So let's move on. So, are you a giver or a taker? Now, this isn't a question for y'all to answer just yet. What I want you to do is, I'm going to give you some scenarios. And if this is you, I want you to tell yourself, okay, that's me. I resonate with that. I resonate with that. I resonate with that. And then at the end of it, we're going to see whether you're a more of a giver or a taker, okay? All right. So, for givers, you stop or change positions even if you're enjoying it. So that means you're willing to stop or change positions to let your partner orgasm first. So let's say it's feeling real good, you about to come, and then you be like, no, I want you to come first, and you stop them. Okay, another trait of a giver. You're always willing to please, even if your partner isn't. So you do your best even if your partner refuses when asked to return the favor. This doesn't mean you don't enjoy sex. You just like making the experience more pleasurable for your partner. Okay. And then another one for a giver, you work towards making your partner climax. You're willing to keep going even if you're drained to make sure your partner has an orgasm. Okay. Now let's look at the takers. So takers, you enjoy whatever experience that makes you climax faster. You love being pleased, and whatever brings you to orgasm faster works best for you, especially oral. When you're done, even if your partner isn't. You usually come before your partner, and it exhausts you to help them finish. And then last but not least, you don't like changing comfortable positions. You love your way of doing things. If you're into missionary, you'll be even more into it, even if your partner isn't. Sorry, I couldn't see that. This aligns with you wanting the pleasure all for yourself. And that doesn't necessarily mean, now, let's say taker sounds really negative, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean it that way, because a lot of givers like takers. It's this sort of symbiotic relationship that happens. There are some people who really know what they enjoy and what they like, and then there are some people who are kind of more timid and aren't really sure. And so there are people who know kind of how to take what they want, and then there are some people who kind of know how to give themselves more freely. So now let's go back to the question: are you a giver or a taker?
Okay. And my crazy thing is because when you're reading Giver, I was like, it kind of sounded like me, but I didn't know I was a giver until you started reading Taker, and I started getting disgusted by the takers. Because I'm just, why would you know? Because my whole thing is like, I'm a runner, I'm a motherfucking track star. This is a marathon, baby. So just because I hit that first line don't mean shit is stopping. Oh, okay, we finna go again. Okay, breath control. I sing, let's get it. You not there yet? Let's get there. Oh, you want to change this position? Oh, let's get it, because whatever position we get into next is going to feel just as good. Trust me. So I'm here for it. As I can't get off if you not coming there with me anyway. So we need to stop. I was already about to change because I felt you was acting different. I could sense this one for us, for you. So I'm already on it. If anything, I would say I'm a predictive giver. And I'm gonna leave it there because, yeah, I'm finna have phone sex tonight. But yeah.
Okay, okay. All right. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. What about you, Gary? Are you a giver or a taker?
I mean, I'm definitely more of a giver. Um, but like as I was reading, and you were reading that off, I was thinking more so, would that be because, like bottoms are kind of like socialized to kind of like be givers all the time, if you will, and where tops are considered to be more like takers. Um, and if you're a verse boy, then maybe you kind of like float somewhere in between, depending on like who you're with, type of deal. Um, I've probably had moments where I was a taker and like, I'm tired. I don't work a 12-hour shift. You want to come over and do whatever it is that you want to do. So sometimes, hey, once I done got mine off, it's like, oh, you ain't got yours? Oh, okay. Um, I don't know what you're going to do because I'm tired. But for the most part, I think like Brent, like I'm very much like, you done came over to do the thing, like don't waste my time because like I don't put time and effort to prepare myself for the experience. And so I want you to come over for like 10 fucking minutes and I done spent an hour, doing my goddamn thing for you to come over for 10 minutes. Like that's a waste of
Hard. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Gary. Anybody else? Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. Let me go down the row. Kevin, what about you? Are you a giver or a taker?
Oh man. Well, apparently I'm still learning. um, but no, so me and my boyfriend, I think we have this dynamic where we switch roles every now and then. It's like maybe for a month or a couple weeks I might be a taker, or what, or a night or whatever, and maybe he's a giver or I'm a giver, he's a taker. But I think one thing that I think, and I've honestly never even heard it explained this way, but I feel like you were saying, taker has a negative connotation. And if I am in that kind of taker mood, I don't feel good that I'm in that taker mood. So, but I don't know if that's a correct feeling, but like you said, I mean, I feel like we've been told that, oh, if you're in that taker, you shouldn't be in that taker because that's not good or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still, this is a good conversation.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. We'll definitely get into that as well. I think what it is, it's consent. You know, at what level of consent do you have? Because if you are a taker, it's important to let your partner know, like, hey, I'm taking. You know,
Yeah.
and that's it. Thank you for sharing, Kevin, too. Vinny, welcome. We're gonna pick on you for a little bit. Do you think you're a giver or a taker?
I think this at this point in my life, I'm a giver, but I'm a giver that wants to be with another giver. I like what Kevin said about, him and his boyfriend switching back and forth. Because I think, there are times where there, mood or situations, where you can kind of float back and forth between giver and taker. But I think ultimately for what I want, the type of connection I want, we both need to be given. It's, what I mean? We should both be trying to get each other there. It's part of what makes that chemistry work and what makes it hot. You know, if someone's being selfish, like that's a turn off for me. So
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I think there's a middle ground, I think, between the two, and I would say it's more like a matcher. Like you're a person that sort of like matches. You have to match the same energy, you know. And I
yeah,
think a
I
lot
mean,
of
I've
us
been
feel
I've been
that
a
way as well.
taker. You know what I mean? Like I've played that role like
Mhm.
before. Like I said, to me, I think it's situational. Like if you're doing like a one night stand or something, and you know what I mean, like then that might be the role that you play for that particular situation. But
Yeah,
where I
yeah,
am mentally, I'm a giver that needs a giver.
I hear you. Thank you so much for sharing.
No problem.
Star, what about you?
My bad. I was trying to get my foot massager together. But anyway, I would definitely have to say I'm 100% a giver. Okay, because let me tell you something. This body right here is a motherfucking experience. And when I say it's an experience, I mean it's an experience. And when I say that it's an experience, I mean I feel like the way I'm about to do you and the way you need to do me, we need to be bragging about each other to somebody else the next day. Okay? That's how bad it's supposed to get. Okay. I feel like I shouldn't sit over there and be opening up my body, my second hole, no nothing towards no damn body, and I can't go brag about it later. That shit don't make no damn sense. My bad, I forgot we being recorded. Never mind. Kids don't listen to me. I ain't saying
So
but girl,
silly.
everybody is an
Thank you.
experience. I feel like shoot, we should over there and be like you know, just enjoying it, like enjoying each other, just getting a shimmy on. Hmm, you
Yeah,
know.
I feel you. I feel you. Thank you so much. Thank y'all so much for sharing. Okay, and what about you, babe?
Yeah, by nature of my personality, I think I'm more of a giver, and not just relating to like sex, but just all facets in my life. I like giving. So that honestly, when I was really debating with myself, like, am I a giver or am I a taker? Because like me giving something feeds me, right? It gives me something, right? I'm getting something out of it, although I'm giving them something. So I'm also thinking, am I a taker? Because even if I apply it to sex, it says you love being pleased and it brings you to orgasm faster, especially oral. Um, if I'm pleasing somebody and if I'm knowing that I can get them there, um, it's like it turns me on. No, I'm getting you off. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's the power I got. Like I'm about
Mm-hmm.
to, you know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like
Glock
that's
Glock 5,000.
it's always that God got, and so I almost feel like I'm a taker in that way because I'm snatching that
Yeah,
stole.
snatching the
That's
soul.
I'm taking it. You know what I'm saying? So that's
So,
me.
so-
I'm snatching that stole. So I'm gonna take a
okay,
speed.
okay, yeah, this is really interesting. Because yeah, I feel like I am a taker. I feel like through and through, I'm more of a taker. Just because I'm very cut and dry with sex. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it can just be like I'm ready to get it, You know what I mean? And when it's done, and I never leave him hanging though. You know, I never leave him hanging. Do I? Have I?
Nah, not at all.
Wait, there was some hesitation.
Okay.
There was hesitation
Okay.
there.
There was.
There was. I left you hanging one time.
Remember, children, we're being recorded.
I think it's fine. It's fine.
Okay, let's move on.
Let's move on. It's okay though. It's all right. So we're gonna watch this quick little video, and we're gonna talk about the wheel of consent. So
I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna play a real crazy game with that. But I think also that it's very beautiful. I weirdly love charts. So I love graphs. That was like, I'm an algebra nerd. I love that shit. It's kind of fun. So I love to be able to map it, and it's clean and just precise. And it's also having it laid out that way gives you room to explore. Now that you have a map, you can explore and with a true direction of, we haven't been there. Let's go and see if we like it, because being in a relationship with someone, it's really like a science to figure out what your balance is, your brain chemistries, your body, just what do we like, so we can really, let's go into the lab and figure out, okay, we tried this on Thursday, you ain't like it. So let's move a little over. Maybe, you like to do onto me. You know what I'm saying? Let's try that when we do the consent game next time. And I think it's healthy and it's quick and it's cool. And it's one of the things that if we just had some real awkward, weird sex because we just tried something, we could be like, look, we played that game. Now we can laugh about that later, and it'll bring us closer, and we know we like this thing. So, yeah, I screenshotted it. But that's all I got. I think you're muted.
oh, we're muted. Oh, sorry. I was saying, does anybody else? Thank you, Brent, for sharing. Does anybody else have anything they want to share about that video?
I think that's yeah, this idea of like consent. I think especially since, oh my god, is that a booger on my nose? Wait. I'm sorry.
We can't see it. We can't see it.
All right.
You didn't record it,
So,
love.
yeah. So this idea of like consent and like really asking questions. What do you want me to do? How do you want me to touch you? Can you touch me like this? Can we do these things right here? Um, I think that's very important. And I think it removes like some of the stigma and the shame around sex, especially like how we come into it to begin with, which is very much like we shouldn't be doing it anyway. So I think for a lot of us, even if we're enjoying something, like we're like, oh, but we shouldn't be doing this because I'm going to hell, or what if my mom finds out, or any of these other things. Um, and the ideas about direct pleasure, like indirect pleasure, which is these are things that we've been talking about, I think, for the past couple of weeks, where you know I like it when I do this thing to you, indirect, and like, and if I get a response out of you that you are pleasured by the thing that I'm doing, like very indirect. But yeah, so yeah, I thought this was kind of like an interesting thing. And I do like the idea of like being able to just like being honest about what you like, what you don't want to do, being able to say no, and then maybe even possibly talking about why you don't want to do that. And then maybe, again, if it's something that y'all want to incorporate into your sexual practice, then figuring out like how y'all can do that at like a comfortable rate or a comfortable level. Maybe even like Brent said, like experiencing like some very awkward moments, because those are also like bonding experiences with, I think especially like if you're in a long-term relationship, maybe this may not apply so much. I think some of this will apply like if it's a one-time thing, but like definitely like I think that whole wheel works well for those who are really in committed long-term relationships.
Okay. I disagree. I think even if it's a hookup, I think consent is something that you practice, and even in those hookup moments, like you can, yeah, I digress. Benny, you raise your hand.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the chart because it provides good language around consent. I think that's one of the biggest things or one of the biggest issues that we always hear about consent is, it's a matter of gray areas in terms of how people ask for something or, you know, take something or, give something, what have you. So I think it does a good job of at least providing language that clarifies, how you can ask for consent. Rather, saying may I, can I, will you, a lot better than, oh, I'm going to. Some people think that just because you announce what you're doing, that's supposed to give the opportunity for somebody to say something, but that's where things get sticky. So
You are so right. You are so right. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else before we go on?
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Go
Brandon.
ahead,
Go
man.
ahead, Brandon.
No, no, go ahead. I already talked.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna say this. The thing I've just found the most intriguing about it is, well, like while I was sitting here and I was looking at it, and like just like you, Brett, like I always felt like I got more information coming from stuff when it was like in a chart or like more so like in a like a more so like in a sense of where like almost like a anyway, I can't even get it out. I'm too high for this. But what I will say is this, I wish that this was something like whenever you first get to learn about sex or like sex education and stuff like that, like whenever you in high school or middle school or whatever, I wish this was something that they would have showed us, because I feel like if had we been shown something like this, because I feel like a lot of us, because I know I definitely can say this, when it comes to sex, a lot of times I am very insecure. Like I don't know, like, if I'm doing the right things, if I'm doing like, if I'm doing something wrong, like, it's so many questions that we don't ask because I feel like we're only so focused on like get it on and busting it in. And I feel like that's just it. So I feel like had we would have had something more like this, I feel like a lot of people in their sex life, they'd be a lot more comfortable, and it would be a lot more what's the word I want to use? I don't know. You just want to really like, I don't know, like just feel like just so insecure in a moment, like when you being intimate with somebody, and like even though like, yeah, I feel like you're already gonna have some of that insecurity or like some of them like negative thoughts in your mind because okay, I'm opening my body to somebody, like if I'm using protection, if I'm not, or whatever, not trying to catch anything. It's also like it's all sorts of things that go into play when like you are in the act of sex itself. And I wish, like I said, that this would have been something that we all would have like just have seen, like just growing up, or like even before we even got started with sex, just so we could like just be more aware, if that makes any sense.
That makes complete sense, Time. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So, but I was just gonna add to it. Of course, as Vinny and everyone else said it. It gives you the language to have around, a much needed conversation. It can be uncomfortable, but like, if we have like a blueprint, we know how to navigate these things. And also, what I think it does is like it helps remove the audacity of like sexual partners thinking that they know what can get you on, or like they like talk to me like you need to know what I'm gonna tell you what my body needs or whatever, like so it kind of removes like, oh, I'm gonna explore and you're gonna like whatever, like it kind of gives you that roadmap to say, hey, I'm gonna tell you what I want from my body instead of you thinking you know what I need. So
Yeah, and I'll just throw on top of that, it allows both parties to sort of relax. Like if I can think about the times with me and Adrian when before we have sex, we talk about it. We're like, hey, you feeling like this? And then it's like a heat. Like as soon as we both agree, like, hey, we're about to do this, it's like that fire like sparks. And I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it, but Yeah, that it's consent. You know what I mean? It's that saying like, hey, this is how I feel. Are you feeling the same way? And then it's like, bam.
It's like
You
that
know what I
desire.
mean?
It's like that
Yeah.
desire makes like, oh shit, like let's
Yeah.
do
And
it.
then yeah. Okay, so
Just to
anybody
say
got
real quick, not to
yeah.
interrupt, I feel like also that's like just a more so a feel like a level of like role play in a sense too. Like, kind of like already getting like, you prepped and ready, like, okay, you in the mood? I'm in the mood too? Okay, let's see if you really in the mood yet. Let's do this. Let's see what's gonna happen. My bad, I just want to add that.
Yeah. Hey, can I say real quick?
Yes.
I feel like I'm trying to sum up where we're getting at. Like consent, at the end of the day, consent is sexy as fuck. Because consent is like you're giving me a blessing to explore you in this way. And who got that? Not her, not them, not they. I got it. So it's just this consent is sexy. I'm obsessed with it. That's right.
It's a
Yeah.
gift.
I agree.
It's
I
a gift.
agree. Yeah. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all. Okay, so we're gonna move on. All right. So now let's talk about people pleasing. Because all of this goes hand in hand. The giving, the consent, boundaries, all of this stuff goes hand in hand. So now we're going to talk about how you actually learned these sort of behaviors. So people pleasing is a learned behavior. We all do it. No one can not say they're not a people pleaser. We all do it. We all do it from time to time. You just do it. You pick and choose who you do it for. And that's the real tea. So the good news is that we can unlearn it. In the case of a sexual pleaser, it leads individuals to perfect, in their own way, ideal sexual practices for the pleasure of others. And while sex is also satisfactory to them, their own satisfaction is not the priority. And there's a reason behind it. Sexual shaming, abuse, and abandonment issues can lead to a person whose attention focuses on their partner in the bedroom. Even just cultural conditioning around what sex is meant to look like and the imprints we carry from watching pornography can have us operating under a strong sense of performance pressure, which has us feeling powerful and confident when in the position of the giver and very exposed when the tables are turned. Does this make sense to anybody?
Yeah.
Yes. It's
Okay. So the next one is boundaries. It's okay. It's okay to say no. When you get punished for saying no and get shamed for having boundaries, you learn very quickly that the only way to feel safe is to make sure no one is ever displeased with you. There's a strong possibility that as a child, you learned that your needs were secondary, so you adapted. The problem is that people who experience childhoods like these never stop adapting. These children grow up to fear rejection and crave validation more than healthy, well adjusted individuals. Most likely, your parents had their own struggles with healthy boundaries as well. Oh, where's my. Okay. So let's answer some more questions. Oh, hold on. Let's go back because it's playing with me. Can y'all hear me? Yeah.
I can hear you, dog.
Okay. Okay. So then, did you only receive love when you pretended to be who your caregivers wanted you to be? For example, when you performed well at sports or at school?
oh yeah. I mean, I would say yeah, because it's not more so the person you wanted me to be, but this version of me, I noticed that you tend to like him. So I'm gonna show you him.
Hmm.
But that's not me. That was my childhood.
Yeah. Anybody else want to answer that one?
Ooh, child, we unpacking some stuff tonight.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, Yeah, I think all of us in some way, shape, or form have been somebody that we weren't, so to speak. Um, just to be able to receive like a more positive reaction, some type of positive affirmation, some type of like affection and this, that, or whatever, from people that we really wanted it from, whether that be like, like, so this question is specifically to caregivers. Um, I know when I acted more masculine when I was growing up, like people were like, "Oh, okay, like we'll show you like a little bit more dignity, humanity, self-respect." You know what I mean? And then, oh, I know that's feedback. So yeah, um, yeah, that's a tough one. Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one. So yes, I would say that. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to take that one?
Just piggybacking off of what G said, and not
We
to
got
be just piggybacking off of what G said, and not to make a generalization, but I think as queer people, we all kind of experience this to some degree. You know what I mean? Whether it's acting more mask, whether it's hiding certain parts of yourself that highlight something that you feel shame about. I think just as queer people in general, that is a big part of our experience is pretending to be something that we're not, to receive love. But sometimes it's not even just to receive love. A lot of times it's really just for safety. You know, it's um it's unfortunate, but I feel like it's a lot of our truths, unfortunately.
Okay. So, are we moving on from that question? I think so.
Okay.
Okay.
I did want to add to the safety part.
Oh yeah.
I did want to touch on that when Vinny said about safety, because particularly with my dad, I would have this, when I would have to go to his house for the weekends, there would be this unsettling, I would just be unsettled and just uncomfortable, because everything that was me that I'm not even conscious of, the most random thing would be called out as like, why you acting like a girl? And it's aggressive. And I didn't know how to, it would shake me up to a point to where I'm just like, I'm just gonna sit here until somebody tell me what to do. I'm not gonna touch nothing. I'm just gonna sit here. If you tell me we're going outside, okay. If we playing football, okay. I'm gonna do it very badly, and you probably finna yell at me again. But I'm gonna do it because I just want to feel settled. So that's all.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Did you have something too?
Yeah, I just resonate with everyone's answers. The idea of hiding yourself. I think we all as queer people experience those things. I know I've personally experienced it, and breaking down those walls, even as an adult, I'm feeling like I still have to do those things. And like you said, the unlearning of these things. So yeah, it's definitely like triggering a little bit, because you're thinking, I do think of past experiences. It's like, I did have to like act a certain way, like just like Brent, or you had to do stuff you didn't want to do. Like maybe I didn't want to play football this year, or what, just so it's just like stuff that you had to do just to get approval, and I feel like I still operate that way as an adult. So yeah.
I absolutely 100% agree. My dad, I was my dad's firstborn son. Um, Looked just like him. He named me the same name, little Michael Jr. Like I was supposed to be his little mini me. And when I came out and was something the exact opposite of him, you know what I mean, had a completely different mind. Um, that that tore our relationship apart. You know what I mean? I never felt like I was able to be who I was. And the only time when I felt like I got, love from my parents was when, or from my dad, was when I did something that I knew that he liked. Like, for example, I played all the sports. Like, if I knew, you know what I mean, he wanted me to play football or whatever, he would never go to a game. He's only went to one of my tennis matches, and the one that I lost. Out of all the other games that I had won, he went to the one that I lost. But anyways, I digress. I digress. So yeah, I got a lot of trauma with that too, man. Um, so the next question is: were you taught to sacrifice your needs and desires in favor of someone else's? Now, this is when we talk about this, is it's we're talking about like as a kid. Were you did you have brothers and sisters, and you had to, oh, you can't do whatever you wanted to do, or you can't have something that's just for yourself because you had to share, or you always had to worry about somebody else.
Yeah.
Mine is interesting because I have siblings, but in my household up until like middle school, I was an only child. So there was no, you got to share, you got to da da da. And so, but there was this level of, living under a single mom and that syndrome of, I want to raise and protect her too. And so for me, it was like, let me not ask for that. Let me not, like, I didn't get a phone until middle school. And that's because my mom basically said, you're getting a phone. Because for me, it was, I'm thinking about your budget and I don't think we can afford that. So I'm not going to ask for that, or I'm not going to seek these things. Or when my friends are talking about, oh, we're all going to go to I'm not even going to let them play with the idea that I'm coming.
Mm.
Okay. Because I have this thing that I really want to do this month, and my mom's pockets are just doing that. Even though it's like, it's so bad to the point to where my high school graduation, I graduated cum laude, and they give you, the bronze and all that. And they gave us the option, like, do you want to buy it and take it home? And like, they just asked me, and I was like, y'all backed it up, take that. And I walked out. And my mom was like, where's your thing? And I was like, oh, no, nobody paying for that. And she's like, I would have bought that. Like, this is like important. I was like, no, I'm going to college. I'm already thinking about them expenses. Like, no. And it was just like, that's just where I am. I'll still be checking my mama pocketbook. And I don't know why, but it's just like, thing.
That's interesting. That's an interesting dynamic. Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Anybody else?
Yeah. So I think, a lot of this has to do with, coming out, and because I came out a little bit later in my life, and kind of all grown up, and there were things that I feel like I wanted to do or could have done, or, had the desire to do, that just may have felt, too feminine, or whatever the case may be, and I kind of put those things on the back burner, or just pushing them down. um and who knows, who I'm not I don't regret anything, of course, because I think everything made me who I am today. But I do believe that in another life, in another timeline, if I would have been able to go for some of those desires that I may have had for myself, instead of thinking about what my parents or my siblings or, whoever else had, thoughts about those, then who knows? I may have been happier in doing some other things, but it's just part of the story, part of the, yeah, part of the journey.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing, Kevin. Anybody else want to get on that one?
Yeah. I think for me, being the youngest of four children, my parents definitely taught us or tried to instill us not to be selfish. So being the youngest, always got the last of stuff. Like hand-me-downs, or just like I experienced everything less by natural order. And so even when it came down to like eating as a child, and so you have chicken, and then like I would have to get the leftover piece. Like I had to get the drumstick. I wanted the chicken breast, like, but I had to sacrifice what I wanted, based on like family, hierarchy or structure, however they saw fit. Maybe they didn't think I could eat a whole chicken breast or whatever, but which is why I do not like drumsticks to this day.
That is interesting. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part.
Go on there.
Oh,
I don't want it.
baby. Oh.
Don't give it to me, baby.
Okay, next question. Let's see. Did your parents overreact to your needs, confusing theirs with yours? Now, this one, Lord have mercy. This one for me, y'all can go in. Anybody, open up.
Yeah, because like a part of that.
Absolutely. Mhm.
Go ahead, Gary.
Absolutely. Listen, absolutely. Like when I was in high school, I wanted to I wanted to do a fashion design. There was a high school for where the artsy kids went. And basically we all knew, honey, if you were a boy, you went to that school, you was one of the girls. Um, and I wanted to go because at that time I was highly vested in fashion. I was like designing, wasn't sewing, but like I could draw my ass off. And but like everyone hated that for me. And I'm like, I have to figure out a way to be able to do the thing because I feel like this is the thing that is going to open up my life for me in a particular kind of way. Like I knew that at 16. And I did I talked to my guidance counselor. They were like, yeah, my mom would not sign the forms for me to go to that school to save my life. And when I went to college for a brief moment for fashion design, I ended up dropping out because like I couldn't deal with like the technical aspect. I'm like, I already know how to draw. I know how to do this. I don't need you to teach me any of this shit. Um, and so like I kind of lost that part of myself. But I remember when Project One Way came on, and I think it was like season 2. And it was a black guy from Atlanta, Michael. And my mom was like obsessed with that show. And we used to watch it every week together. And she asked me, she was like, that could have been you if you had kept up with your drawing and you had went to school. And I got up and I left the room and I ended up crying because I'm like, you literally disregarded that shit. You literally disregarded that shit to the point that like even when I went off to school, like I had like a whole stack of drawings that I had left at home and she fucking threw them away. But then had the nerve to come to me at like 24 and been like, that could have been you like on Project One Way. That fucking devastated me. Because I'm like, you did not believe in me until you realized that in some way, like I could be famous for it or I could profit from it. You know what I mean? Um, and which is why like a few years back I decided to kind of gift that self back to me. I decided to gift some of that stuff back that I lost as a child when people told me that I could not do those things. And now that I'm older, like I am beginning to explore and do the things that I want, just because I knew what it did for me back then. But I'm understanding more so what it is doing for me now. It's gifting me parts of myself that I lost along the way that people actively took away from me. Um, and I want to give that back because I need to be more balanced in my life and to love me. And if you couldn't do it, then who the fuck else is supposed to do it other than me? Like I have to be the person to be able to do that. So yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
That
no,
question has been triggering me.
thank
This part of the session is triggering the fuck out of me. It is wearing me out.
Whew, yeah, that's deep. Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Gary. That is, I'm really sorry that happened because it's not fair. But I really resonate with you on that. I really do. Anybody else want to share about that?
I just kind of like Gary got me in my Pisces is over here Piscean and I'm in all emotional, but I'm just like, because I'm in that era of my life right now. Of this is what the fuck I want to do, and I had to come back from people talking me out of my dreams to the point to where doing anything that I love terrifies me on this level of, am I going to let somebody take that away or not? Am I going to let this person, like, even though it be a bitch I'm not even intimidated by, I'm like, am I going to let her take this from me? Because it's happened to me so many times. And so I say that to say, because you reminded me of, and I don't know why, but it reminds me of a moment with my dad. Because my dad gets so involved in his own world that he just misses over information about me. And I'm like, I've been right here. I've been listening. And for you to just, when I'm over digesting what you're saying to the point to where I am, over, too much. And for you to not, you to take everything but the most important piece of what I had to say to you. And the main thing that I was saying to you and not take it with you. It just reminds me of that part of my relationship with my dad, which I hate which oddly, him projecting his wants on me wasn't the toxic part. All the, like, I guess in this scenario, because my dad, for him, me being a junior and him living like a life of crime, not being able to do much, it was just like, boy, you reading, you talking before you walking, like, oh, we got to get you in corporate world. This gonna be you. It was for a long time. I was getting built up to be a lawyer, just because, okay, you went in the system. We need somebody to help people like you. Who says that's what I want? But I started to even believe that's what I wanted at a point. Until, like, here I am. I was in this dual credit course in high school, taking criminal justice class, and I was depressed because I was like, this is what the law is doing to people every day. This is what we're doing. I do not want to be a part of that. And I'm blessed that at that point, my dad had more of a change of heart towards the situation. So he actually was the one to kind of help me sort through, well, maybe there's this time for a pivot. But it was just like, for me, I just felt like I just jumped into psychology after that because it was any alternative was better than where I was. And so it kind of left me on a route to figure that out. But I will say that whole, you gonna be the one to change and make our last name a legacy, that pressure, baby. Like, who said I want to do that?
Wow.
I want to be a household name, but not for that.
A household name that I create. Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you for sharing, Brad. There's some other questions up here as well. If y'all want to answer these, feel free. I'll say let me just get my little piece out. For me, my dad was very abusive. There are so many things, so many dysfunctional things in our relationship, that, yeah, I don't even know how I'm alive today, y'all. I'm just be real. I don't even know how I'm alive today. Um, so my yeah, talk about, feeling like you come second best. Like, I never felt like I was, important to my dad, or, important to my caregivers, or whatever. Um, so, and another thing in our family, like the last question, were you shamed by your family members for things you enjoyed? Like, my family, we talk about each other. They, like, judge each other a lot because they're always like, um, you know how black families are. We're always like talking about somebody. We're always, especially gossiping, talking about somebody behind their back or whatever. And that's how my family is. We're always just talking about each other and ragging on each other all the time. And it gets to a point where, like, especially like in our community, like, we can't even do things that make us happy, in front of other people or whatever, because we will literally get shamed for it. Like they will literally talk about you and they will literally laugh at you in your face, and like, and yeah, that's traumatic. I mean, that was definitely, having those experiences for me as a kid were definitely traumatic. um yeah. So yeah, that's my piece, and y'all are fair to, if you can share
Now,
maybe.
can I? So what I will say, I know, like, can we just the experience of being teased for every fiber of your being. I'm just here existing, and that is so problematic for you. Why? And I think, and we need to focus on that key part of that phrase, for you. But, and we have to keep on to that, because let me not make that for me. Because I have come from, my family does that in a way, but they're not like, it's not just full blown gossip talk shit. We're the, I got a bunch of Moniques and Kevin Harts, and you know, it's comedians over here. So we all, it seems jokingly, but it's like, damn, I heard it later. That
Mhm.
really hurted you later. And I had to, we laughed through it with each other. And it's like a thing, but it's like, no, like that's something I was really passionate about. Like, for example, it was an embarrassing moment, but I'm not embarrassed. Let's be clear. Um, when I was younger, I really like, and I had to relearn my gift of like that I really want to sing and just be an artist and rap, all of this stuff. Um, but I was so hell bent on it to where I dreamt about it. It was if I was daydreaming, that's where I'm at. I would I created this little world and characters that I interacted with, that I would call in to my room, send out, and they would have the reoccurring roles. I've never told anybody this. This is crazy, but and it was just, I created this whole world of, I was already famous living in that, and that was my escape. Anytime no one was sensing me, and I just would go into myself, and I would sense me, you know, and create these characters to love. Like when I saw Precious and that whole scene, when she went in her world, I said, don't like, don't come for me. But like I would do that shit to the point to where it was real. Like I was, you know, but there was this moment where was so in it, and it was raining, and I went outside, and it just, now I see it as, man, it's raining outside. Spirit really just medium, it just went down. But like I was singing, spinning, dancing. I love to dance, and I was just all of me out there in that rain. And I did not know my mama, my auntie, my uncle, my grandma, everybody was in the window. I didn't know nobody was in the window. I thought they was in there laughing about their own business. And then I come back in like nothing ever happened. And then it was not, no hesitation, no nothing. My auntie, so you Omarion? What you talking about? You want to be Chris Brown so bad. Then it's the all the you got served references. And I'm just over here, I'm like, what is y'all talking about? Because I was out there so long that I had forgot that I had that moment. And it was just like, I'm never doing that again where people can see me. I'm never doing it again. But that's literally my dream, to do that again where people to see me. I want a stage where it's raining on me. The fuck?
I love it.
And yeah, we
Yeah,
gotta
When
do
you
the
felt
take care shit.
free.
I resonate with that a lot. I was a kid that was really into martial arts, and a similar scenario happened with me. I used to like, you know, like using the staff and doing like that. And man, I would be in the backyard like kicking, and they would just be laughing at me, making me think I was what they call me, Jet Li, and then they would call me a dirty, what they call me, a dirty Q-tip, because I used to have an afro and I was real skinny. And moving on.
It's the disrespect for the culture and the lineage for me. That's where it comes down to, how we be socializing us to hate the most natural things about ourselves.
The magical parts of ourselves. You know what I mean?
Because that's what they
7 Deep
scared
talked about
of.
that.
Where your
They
power
scared
is.
of the magic in us.
Because that's where your power is.
Yeah. Just real quick, like there's an artist by the name of 7 Deep. And he talks about how his dad like tried to push him into football and all these other things. And once his father realized that he was magical, if you will, like he started to push him into like dance and art and all of those things that like really brought his son some type of joy. And it's just really sad that you know, like our parents did not see those magical parts, or they saw the magical parts of ourselves and they tried to tamper that, as opposed to like really feeding into it like, oh, okay, you a magical boy, they got shit for you out here, let me figure out how to like really support you, and so that way you can be your fully realized self. But you know, but if they're not fully realized in like who they are, or willing to like kind of deal with their own shit, like you said, Brent, um them not dealing with their own insecurities, their own whatever about whatever they feel about us, you know, then they project that shit onto us. And because we're kids, we don't know any fucking better. So we're just like, oh, okay, like I shouldn't do that. And, you know, Vince mentioned earlier, you know, for fucking safety reasons. Like literally, I felt like if I played with dolls, I knew by the time I was 12, I had to stop, I had to put that shit down because literally, like I was being harassed, attacked, um, all kinds of fucking things. But that was the thing that sat back and brought me joy. And now I'm at an age, hell, I have a whole fucking collection and I'm adding more to it. And like, and when grown men sit back and ask me, well, why are you doing that? I'm fucking grown. I'm in my goddamn house. If you don't like it, here's a goddamn suggestion. Don't do it in your house. That solves 99% of the problem that you think that you have with the shit. And that other 1%, deal with yourself and take it to the God that you pray to. When you fuck up, you bill money and work that shit out with him. It's not my goddamn issue. So
Period. You're not hurting yourself. You're not hurting nobody else. You're not endangering nobody.
that's it.
There's a lot worse vices you could be having. So
I want you to say them exact words. I need you to re-record them exact words for my future. I want it to play out of my casket as people coming up to view my body. I want it to play from underneath me in a speaker. Or actually, I'm gonna get a speaker that's a bow tie, and I
Honey,
want it.
I'll do it.
Period.
Honey, I'll put on something real
And turn
fly
it up
and
louder when my
gather
dad
all the
come up
fucking
there.
people. Do you hear me? You got something to say, bitch? I got my machete. Don't play with me.
I am
I'm a
literally
verbal
crying.
assassin when it comes to shit like that.
No,
Oh,
because like, what is wrong with like? I would, and it breaks my heart, but it also fills my heart because I know that I have this love. Because I working with kids, I see all of these. They're some little fucking weirdos, and I mean that in the most beautiful way because they like the weirdest darndest shit. Like my little baby Mila, she's obsessed with gore, just the culture. I'm like, what you draw? That's a bloody knife, and okay, but you have to understand the child you're talking to. So let me produce this for you in a healthy light. If that's something you think is cool, you know what I'm saying? If that's something, and it's not murder because you're not drawing people dying, it's just the whole depiction of a creepy scene. And so it's like, well, maybe we can get you into some form of art. Maybe you want to write spooky stories one day. Maybe you like Halloween, spooky is just your season, versus saying, this a weird ass child that need help. When I know she's not weird, she ain't around here trying to stab other kids. She's not, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like feed that. And because they had like children are so pure. That's why I say if you want to be your most healed self, you need to try to become and unlock your child self and feed that because as I'm walking that rain, baby, like I've had like this summer, even though it's been the hardest for me financially, but I've come into such a love for myself because I'm getting back to that singing, y'all heard me, I don't give a fuck, like that rain in the rain moment. I'm taking that back because I realized I was rapping Nikki Hard White and these old white ladies. This was today. They look, and I stop. Good morning, and then I go back into just last week. I told them to pick a side. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm runway walking because I gotta go to work. So you saw me. you're interrupting me. I'm not interrupting you, if anything. And so coming back into that is so powerful. And it's just know your magic, y'all. Know y'all are fucking amazing. You all are amazing. And no matter how you remember that you're the shit, it's just, or when you remember, just know that it's so, just the fact that you fucking remembered
Period.
is enough. Because the way these people are walking around not knowing who the fuck they are and why the fuck they here and that they matter, you know? It's so powerful to say, I believe in myself in a world that has built everything to do the opposite.
Exactly. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for sharing. We're going to move on. We got 30 minutes left and we got a bit more content to go through. So it's time to grow up. It's time to grow up. Children are dependent on their caregivers for pleasure, whether that pleasure is food and nourishment, love, acceptance, etc. Oftentimes, it is the caregiver who has to give the child permission to have their pleasure, i.e., to be with friends, to buy a toy that they want. Many of us do not move out of that state of dependency. And as adults, we transfer that dependency onto parent substitutes. In this place, we do not know that we alone have the ability to feel our own pleasure at any and all times. Instead, we feel we need permission through either validation or acceptance from others. This dependency forces us to expend our energy ensuring that others approve of us. We bend and contort to be the person we think we have to be to win favor from them. If we do the work to acknowledge the places where we remain in our child dependency and feel the pain and loss of the separation of growing up, then we are more able and willing to take full responsibility for our pleasure. And that's on period. So let's talk a little bit about our egos. This part is going to get deep too, because our ego is something that's very close to us. It's I, it's me, it's what I think of as myself. So this capacity to stay present to ourselves and receive and enjoy love, attention, intimacy, sex, or sensual pleasure from a partner requires the capacity to be vulnerable. And it takes a strong person to relax into their vulnerability. While touching and giving, one is in control, and receiving requires losing that control. With this in mind, the sexual pleaser pays special attention to every detail, focusing all their energy in reading the responses of their sexual partners in order to provide the ultimate climax. As the focus is on the other person, the sexual pleaser is missing in the feeling that comes from the patience and stillness in receiving. So imagine, you're allowing someone to take you. You're allowing someone your body, you're giving someone your body. That there's a lot of patience that's required in that. There's a lot of stillness that's required in that, because you're not in control, and so you're kind of like waiting and wanting and hoping and in this mode of waiting. So in their hands or mouths, their partners would be most satisfied, even if other parts of the relationship fail or are not as satisfactory. This leads to the constant need to create more opportunities to satisfy the urge to prove themselves. But it is the real self and the acceptance of the real self that allows for the experience of pleasure. We all have a need to maintain our identity. We have an attachment to the person we think we need to be in order to be loved, to feel safe, to belong. It takes time and effort to maintain this mask, to show our goodness and hide our badness. Because of this attachment and the fear that motivates that attachment, we spend much of our time doing what it takes to sustain it. We expend our energy avoiding a negative possibility rather than putting our energy towards something life-affirming. We use our mind and will, our ego, to maintain the mask, and as a result, pleasure is hindered. The problem, however, isn't the ego. It's about surrendering the ego. I mean, it's not about surrendering the ego, but more about channeling it to where it can perform the greatest service. When the ego is motivated by fear and distorted thinking, it misses out on its most important role, which is awakening and activating our wisdom, our spirit, and our true purpose. A healthy ego serves a tremendously positive purpose. We need it to assert ourselves, to take care of ourselves, and to act in the world. It is the mechanism by which we engage in our purpose. So imagine if we focus the energy of our ego on meeting its true goal. So let's have some more questions. How would life be different if you put your mask down? What would happen or what could happen if you lost control?
Y'all want me to answer?
Please.
I feel like they gonna be like, that's a very rude bitch. That's a very disrespectful bitch. We don't like you. Why are you always got something to say? And I say that because it's almost like I've had to. Let me come on. But I say that because I've always had to kind of leave something to be desired in what I've said, because I learned that as clear as you want to say something, if they're not receptive, it's not coming through. So for me, I have been, when I go full blast, I have been demonized, and I've learned like to where everyone hates me. I had a whole math class every day. I'm arguing with the entire class because I just walk in there and just say it's out there. And so for me, that world just looks like a bunch of fights, and I'm the supervillain, and it's giving world domination. But with my veil, I get to pretend like, the Virgin Mary, and you can give consent to my world domination. But it's happening because at the end of the day, I'm just I'm very absolute about shit around me, and I want to call it out. I just learned different ways to do that in a way that's more feels more supportive and nurturing to others. But when it pops up in my mind, it's not like, oh baby, you need to learn how to um maybe how you talk to me. That's not how you should talk to me. I don't communicate like that. So next time, try saying this, or if you're feeling that, say this. But when it pops up in my mind, it's nothing like that. It's just like, did this bitch not know that I have made bitches cry for less? And you gonna say that in my face? Like, the elderly, babies, everyone can get it. That was me. And so it's just like, I don't, it's almost like I'm scared to become that, but it's like life is trying to bring me into that right now. Like, people need to be reminded that I have that ability for some reason. And so, yeah, it looked like a world of war.
Okay. That's an interesting take. It's interesting. I'm interested to hear what other people have to say. Thank you, Brent, for sharing.
So I was rereading the question, and I mean, it says, how would you be different if you put your mask down? What could happen if you lost control? And to me, it sounds like it's equating taking a mask off to losing control. And I don't necessarily see that as the case. I think you can be vulnerable, you can take your mask off, because I think everyone wears different masks throughout their life, throughout their season, throughout, who you're with, how vulnerable you want to be. And that can still be a controlled environment. So I don't necessarily feel like just because I choose to be more vulnerable with people, that equates me losing control, because I can still have control over that situation if I choose to.
Very, very valid. Very valid answer. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? I'll go. I think for me, if I were to, I think a lot of what, you know, have you ever heard this? Somebody say, what's that freaking saying? It's like, what's your dream job? And people are like, well, I don't have one because I don't dream of work. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of us, if we didn't have to, we probably wouldn't. Um, and I think that's a way that if it were me, if I had to like, pull that mask off, that working mask of like, I need to like, I need to make money and I need to serve this machine, that's the mask I would take off. You know what I mean? And um, I think I don't know. But what I'm sorry. What Kevin said is absolutely right. The two questions have nothing to do with each other. It's just an interesting way of asking, because I think sometimes when we think about sex, for example, and we think about like taking the mask off or really letting ourselves go, in so many ways, we think about losing control. And what I really wanted to get out of this question is I wanted to see where people thought that if they really embraced all of themselves, even in sex, where do you think that would go? How far or how, you know, yeah, how crazy would it go if
Can I?
you lost control in that way?
Okay, now that I understand, now that you said that, can I? I'm gonna re-answer. Is that okay?
Mhm.
Because I'm very much, and thank you to God. I'm like, I really love sex. I think that because for me as a conjure man, all of these things, a hoodoo, whatever, sex is very much a ritualistic practice. And it's an enjoyable one that it does so much for you all in one space. There's so much that goes into sex and so much that can be pulled from sex if we utilize it and we're intentional, kind of like how the pleasure wheel kind of opens that up. But
Mhm.
for me, oh my God, Jesus, please don't let me leave it. But I'm in the state right now where I have like I used to go into sex like, okay, here's my body, kind of what can you what can it do for you? So my body was almost like the paintbrush during sex.
Mhm.
Now I feel like the canvas, bitch, I'm here. It's up to you to make art. And this canvas, you know what a canvas can do. This canvas can be many motherfucking things. And I'm gonna let you know that. And in that consent conversation, because when I last had sex, we were, it was almost like, like take a look and uh, and really savor this, because that's me letting go. Me letting go is me just saying my body is gorgeous and I know you know it is, and I know you're so contorted by that you don't know where to start with me,
Mhm.
so I'm gonna tell you where. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like I'm in this space right now of really living in that, and it's so freeing that I could cry, because sex used to I've always loved sex. And that's very weird. But even as a young age, I've always had this thing about it to where I love it. And so going from it being demonized and then taking that back onto myself to where I can't perform, and then having romantic trauma to where I can't get aroused by things, to now like I don't even need an image in my mind to get turned on because I'm so into my body. So yeah, I just speak that over everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Anybody else want to take that one?
I
We
would
got about
say,
15 minutes left. Just want to let y'all know. So keep your answers short, y'all. Sorry.
so I would just say, I think in taking the mask off, there is more of an awareness about how, for me, I know it's been like an awareness about how people perceive me, also how I perceive myself. It's made me a lot more comfortable um, navigating like spaces as I get older. Walking into a room, um, there's still like some levels of anxiety that are there in terms of like who I will encounter and this, that, or whatever. But like I'm just more relaxed and I'm more at ease with myself. And I think because of that, then that has drawn people to me that years ago I would have been too scared to like interact with because I would have been so filled and the mask would have been up. Like I can't, because they can't see the facade. They can't break through. You know what I mean? And now I'm just like, yeah, I know you see me and you should see me. I am the pink elephant in the room. And if I'm the pink elephant, you look at me entirely way too long, I might do some tricks for you just because I know you're fucking staring. And I know you're going to get something out of it. It'll give you something to talk about. And I understand why I'm doing it. So yeah, I feel more at ease the more that I take the mask off, the more that I leave it at home.
Absolutely.
I'm just more aware of myself moving through spaces, and I'm aware of like how other people are perceiving that as well. And it's been like a wild, intense journey, but I am loving every second of it because yeah,
Yeah.
I know who I am. And I don't really give a fuck if you do or if you don't. And if you do, that's a joy for you. That'll be an experience for you. And hopefully you let me into your world in the same way where we don't have to wear the mask of one. We can just always be.
Exactly. Thank you for sharing, Gary. Thank you. Um, Anybody else want to take that one?
Yeah, as I was listening to everybody's talking and I was listening to your, explaining what the question was asking, I realized there's a lot of masks that that I wear, and I don't, and I think that it's hard to answer this question because it's like I don't even know at what point I started wearing these masks. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I think trying to understand what happened if you put the mask down or like what if you lost control. I think that also depends on what particular mask you're putting down at that moment, even when it's related to sex. You know what I mean? I think as just growing older and just getting different experiences, like understanding that you you learn that things are not always just black and white. Like it's like you originally thought. You know, as a kid, you like to learn that there's a lot on the spectrum to learn about, and so some things don't always just equate to sub and dom. Some things don't always equate to giving and taking. So I think it it's it's a hard question to answer because you have to realize that the mask is there, and like you said, and like the whole presentation was saying about the ego and putting that aside and reconciling with that to be able to let yourself free. And I think we should at least try as often as possible to put those to let ourselves lose control or let our to put those masks down to at least experience it, even if it's just for a minute. Just I think that's how you find out more about yourself, is even in moments where it might be scary or uncomfortable or not, you know, I don't want to say not safe, but where you feel like it might not be safe, just taking that leap of faith to try something new, to let yourself truly lose control. I think we learn a lot more about ourselves, when we allow those experiences to happen.
I 100% agree. Thank you so much for sharing. Uh, you.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to be brief. Vinny, you had made a point about like you don't even know when you decide when you got these masks, right? And I was thinking in my head like, yeah, it kind of starts when you're a child. Like you're taught these things, right? I like to apply those two questions to a scenario. Like just imagine someone in a grocery store, a little girl going off, right? And why do we wear masks, right? To keep society comfortable. Like it. That's why we do it. make everybody at ease, right? That's why we are masked in different parts of our lives. So if you think about the little baby, right? She's already gone off, right? She's already lost control, right? By nature, we're already out of control, and it's like our caregivers, our parents, responsibility to put us back in line, tell us what's right, what's wrong, stay in these narrows. But by nature, we're already out of control, right? So our parents are giving us these masks. Our caretakers are giving these masks, right, to maneuver through society. Whether whatever path they deem you go, they're giving you these tools that are going to allow you to maneuver. Masks aren't always a bad thing. They protect us, but sometimes they keep us from things. So you just got to decipher when I need to have these masks. So yeah, and I'll say for me, the one mask that I need to take off is the mask of me thinking people think I have it all together, and knowing they know I don't have it together, right? I think they think I do, but I don't. Like I don't have it together. I need to put that down and just live, right? And not worry about what people think. Think for my TikTok.
You said a whole word right there.
I'm
You said a whole word right
I
there.
said a whole. So yeah.
Anybody else want to touch that one? We got about 6 minutes, y'all. We got about 6 minutes. Let's wrap her up. Okay, so don't be afraid. What fears do you have towards being vulnerable, which you kind of talked about a little bit? How does your attachment to your idealized self-image keep you from having your pleasure? And this is essentially what we've been talking about this entire topic.
I think Brent touched on it a little bit earlier. Like you start to get in your head. And so when you're living in your head, you're not allowing yourself to experience that pleasure. You're worried about, am I doing this right? Is this look, am I making a weird face? Is this, you know what I mean? Is this, once you start getting in your head, that's when the pleasure goes out the window.
Yeah, it's true. It's like an immediate buzzkill for me. Like the minute I have a thought, like, did he enjoy that? Is everything? And then it'll be like, and I have to get out my head and like get there again. It's weird.
Because it's a moment, it's a vibe, it's a mood, and as soon as something takes you out of that, you realize you're out of that, and then you have to get back in it.
It's an awareness.
Yeah, there's this saying in like spiritual community: get out of your head and get into your body.
Yes,
that's the quickest way to get into nature, into the world. But so it's just letting go. Sometimes it's just about letting go.
Okay. So we got 2 last questions. We're gonna try to wrap it up here with these. If you were to die this evening with no opportunity to communicate with anyone, what would you most regret not having told someone, and why have you not told them yet? And to piggyback off that, is there something you've dreamt of doing for a long time? Why haven't you done it yet?
I'm gonna answer the second one first because I'm a punk ass bitch and I let these pick me out of my gifts. And then for the first part, like it's crazy because my mind went to I want to have a real talk with my daddy before I die. Like I really need you to understand me. And actually I don't. I just need you to hear what the fuck I got to say. But you'll understand in that moment, I'ma say what I got to say. And you can't talk. That's all I need.
I tried that conversation with my dad so many times. Y'all know, I just tried it a couple months ago and showed all y'all the messages. And my father will not budge. Like he just will refuse to hear me, and it's always like he will play the victim. You know what I mean? Though that whole thing. So just let it go. Let it go. I mean, if you want to do it, but don't base. Yeah. But I agree. I would love to have that conversation with my father as well, and just let him know like these are all the ways that you fucked me up.
No, like for real, it's giving very much let me tie you up and gag you. You sit the fuck here and you listen to what I have to
All
say.
that. I ain't say all that now.
Now I'm saying all that. Zoom to record and everybody hear me. I'm saying all that. Brendion Neal Sr. will get gagged. Sit here and listen.
I'm not trying to get subpoenaed. I'm going off
Okay.
mine.
Okay. Everybody cams
Okay.
off. Cams off.
Calm
Cams
down,
off.
calm down, calm down.
My dad a thug. He ain't gonna
I
call the
wasn't there,
police.
Your
My
Honor.
dad
I
he ain't
was
gonna call
not
the
bearing
police.
witness.
My dad won't. He'll just try to. He'll just be on some get back. My dad a thug. He ain't call the police. But
Okay.
but I'm saying it's
Mhm.
just like because this is level to this. I don't need you to say I receive you, son. I hear you, son. I don't need none of that shit. I just need your face and your ears, or I need your whether I'm sending you this long ass text message. You got that motherfucker. Whether you respond to me, you know what my heart says. Whether you accept that or not, that's on you because I know your demons come. That's for you and your demons to twirl around with. I got that shit out. So for you, Mike, I would say, however you want to, get that shit out. You can write a letter, send it to him. If he read it and burn it, so what? You saw it. You can't deny it no more. Only in your mind. And that now it's just for him to deal with.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
Thank you. So anybody else? We got a little bit more to get through.
Oh God. What I would want to do that I haven't done yet, two things. I want to learn how to belly dance, and I want to fuck a few porn stars and have that shit go viral.
Okay.
Two things.
Man, that shit.
What is that what you are? Okay. Yes.
I
Those
Gary,
are
ain't-
my two things. And what I want to say, um, I don't know, to the people of the world, fuck y'all.
C'est la vie. That's it.
Fuck
That's
y'all
it.
who hate the magical people. Fuck every last one of y'all. That's all.
That's it. I love it. Thank you. Well, let's move on. Let's move on. Okay. So let's really quickly now, because now we got to get to the actual crux of today's topic. We got all the way just to get here. So this is the actual process of receiving sexual pleasure. So the first step to receive is asking. As we all know, usually givers don't know how to ask or even dare to ask. Asking doesn't even cross your minds, as giving is all you know. Not asking is a behavioral pattern that can be traced back to childhood and easy to recognize. It's a living paradox, living in lack or in scarcity while giving abundantly. Develop your communication skills and practice them all the time. Be kind to yourself. As we always say in these rooms, give yourself grace. However negative it might sound, it's a trait to be treated with compassion. As in this case, it's a lack of awareness and emotional connection. So start with talking outside the bedroom. This is vulnerable stuff, and during sex is not the time to bring it up unless your partner is equipped to hold space and really listen without judgment and without taking anything personally. Open this conversation in a safe space next time you're feeling calm and connected, and discuss with each other what you enjoy about giving and receiving. Develop a lifelong practice against all odds of loving yourself and believing that you are worth everything. You're worthy of respect, you're worthy of love, you're worthy of pleasure. Having this new experience creates a new imprint in your nervous system. This needs to be carefully tended to, and the new neural pathways encouraged to grow. You know, we've talked about this the past couple of weeks. We've been talking about the brain and how your brain, actually receives pleasure and how it, feels pleasure. And so this is what you're doing. You're retraining your brain now to to feel pleasure in a different way. And so what you're doing is big, and you have to give yourself grace in these moments and try to relax. You have to treat yourself very gently. Like I said, when the body opens and becomes vulnerable in that way, it needs to be treated very gently afterwards. So just let go. Let go of any notion you have of what's supposed to happen. Let go of all your assumptions, expectations, and attachments to how you think it's supposed to go. Erase your memory of everything you've been taught about sex, relationships, pleasure, intimacy, desire, and communication. And now we're gonna do so all your memories are gone. Okay. And now surrender your body to pleasure. Y'all, okay, y'all zapped? Y'all zapped? Okay. Y'all got zapped? Okay, good. Okay, so now proactively communicate with your partner. If you're concerned about being unable to orgasm, consider simply saying it takes me a long time to come. I usually don't come during sex. I usually don't, can give you the space you need to relax without any pressure to perform or to reach a goal. Taking can be another great alternative to receiving to start with. So remember we talked about giving and taking, and so when we talked about the 4-quadrant model, taking is where one partner gives over their body with an agreed set of boundaries, like we talked about earlier, to the other, for them to play with for their own pleasure, not to pleasure their partner. For example, if I were to say to Adrian, you know, how do we say that? Like I would give my body to Adrian for him to do the things that he would like to do to my body, but I am making that conscious decision of giving my. So in that respect, I'm taking, I'm taking his pleasure for myself. Does that make sense? So this is another good way of trying it. Knowledge is power. Also, try focusing on and enjoying your own sensations by being pleasured. There's a thing called sensate focus therapy. You should Google it if you haven't heard of it before. There's actually a whole people are actually doing this in sessions. So it helps individuals release sexual performance anxieties by touching for their own interests as opposed to their partners. Focus on sensations, especially tactile sensations, like hard rubs, slaps, things that yeah. Also experimenting with different pressure, experimenting with different like liquid, like different if it's a rough thing, if it's something that you need lube for, you know what I mean? We all like different things. Some people like to masturbate dry, some people like it wet, we all have our different things. So just try experiment on those different levels and see what, works for you just by yourself. Um In other words, sensate focus therapy helps redirect your attention away from any sort of goal and toward the simple curiosity and experience of touch, thus enabling your body to relax and respond positively to sexual stimuli. Building your own capacity to receive your own touch without resorting to quick fixes, pornography, and vibrators is an art and a skill form in itself. The more you can touch your own body and stay present to your sensations and pleasure, the easier it will be with your partner. Start with setting a timer for just a little longer than you would normally allow to masturbate, and take some time learning to sense your body and understand your own pleasure. It can be much harder than you might imagine, so be gentle with yourself and just notice what arises. And of course, this is just my opinion. This is not a scientifically proven and perfect mechanism for increasing receiving tolerance. It's just what I found effective so far in my exploration. Everyone is different, and all our experiences of our sexuality are perfect. So please just take from this what you find helpful and let the rest go. Okay, so for partners, give your partner choices. If you have a partner who is more of a giver and you want them to be more of a taker, or you are trying to switch up that role with them, give them different activities to choose from. Ask if they want to be tied up. Ask them if they want to, get a massage, or if they just want to, mutually masturbate, or if they just want to hang out. You want to give them these different options. That way they're not worried about thinking about giving you this specific thing, because anything on this list is okay. So they're not worried about, oh, I need to I need to do this certain thing because this is what they want. You understand what I'm saying? And that it goes vice versa. And give your partner control. When someone is developing their capacity to receive, put them in total control. Give that person the agency to say what they want to experiment with more receiving. That means if they want to say stop, if they want more, if they, you just allow them to do things without your input, without your bias, without you saying, oh, what if you try it like this, or do this, do that. Just let them do what they feel is what they enjoy, because you might think that you're doing something right. For example, you might think that for tops, you might think that you're doing it the right way this whole time, and until you let that person really take control, they might enjoy your that sex a completely different way than what you thought they did. And so that's just that. The last thing is give your partner freedom. If your partner shares that they are unlikely to orgasm or don't orgasm easy, be sure to express support without pressuring them inadvertently. Don't try to make it your goal. Like, oh, they say they don't usually come, or I'm gonna make them come. I'm a,
That's
I'm a
ego.
superhead.
That's
You know what I
ego.
mean? Yeah,
That's
exactly,
ego.
exactly. So just let them look. I see Star over there, like. Just let them, just let them be, and yeah, we understand where we're going with that. So in conclusion, when we're driven to please others habitually, we leave ourselves behind. As human beings, assuming our basic needs are met, we mostly all want and need the same things from each other. We all have a primal fear of abandonment. We all want validation. We all fear rejection, and we all need to be seen. In the end, we are all more alike than different. When we realize as adults that we were born good enough, that our needs are not selfish, but natural and fundamental to our survival, it's amazing how much room opens up for others. And that is our session for today. So as we close these, as always, let's hear some positive affirmations.
I am a motherfucking sex god. In my bed is my dimension. So what I want to create and cultivate will be and shall be for as long as I say. I stay, man.
Ashe. I love it. For Kevin and Vinny, I know y'all are new. So usually at the end of all of these, we just give a positive affirmation. So everybody we just go around the room and.
Okay, I'll go. I give myself license to explore and be open and not pressure myself into what I feel the narrative should be, but let my story unfold as it should.
I love that. I love that.
I'll just say, yesterday I looked fear in the eyes, and then I realized I've been wasting my time. That's it. Drop the mic.
I love that. Love it.
I seen this earlier at work, and it really got me through my day. It was one of them ones that came up on my phone. It says, "I am proud of all the hard times that I have survived."
I love it. I'm gonna say, I don't need an excuse to feel good about myself.
Mm-hmm.
You damn right. My bad.
Mm-hmm.
I need that on the shirt. Merch, bitch.
Murder.
Right. Get it. Closed mouths don't get fed.
I love it. That's one of my favorite sayings.
Closed mouth don't get fed, and a closed mouth don't give good head.
Okay.
From the
Hey,
baby
yo.
themselves. Out
I
of the
knew it
mouth
was
of
coming. I
babes
knew
is
it
what
was
they
coming.
say.
I knew.
What, you knew I was gonna say something wrong, Chief?
I knew. I said, here it goes.
I wouldn't be me if I didn't. I gotta keep you on your
So
toes
Ella's
somehow.
Out of the mouths of babes, darling.
Who's next? I think Vinny, you're last. Yeah, you're,
I don't
you're up.
even know how to top that. Like that was.
You
Speak for-
top it with lube. My bad. I'm gonna mute my mic. Let me shut up.
I would say there's nothing to top. Whatever you
Yeah.
feel you want to take with you or you want to share with us, get that. We're gonna love it because it's yours.
I don't even. I'm just trying to think because I don't really give myself affirmation.
It's time to start.
I made it through the day, so that's all that matters.
Period. Yes.
That's profound.
That's yes. That is all that matters. I love it.
Did not make it through today.
That you did.
Okay. Well, I love all y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for being here. Wednesday is Adrian's room, the Art Alliance. So if y'all want to check that out, please come on in.
Yeah.
What are we gonna be doing, babe?
So we're gonna be talking about your music tastes and how that influence your personality. So that should be fun.
Okay.
And then we're already working on our song. So we're gonna finish that up and move forward. So yeah. Exciting.
Exciting. Anybody got anything before we close out? Anything?
I just want y'all to remember this. Every day we get up on this earth, it's another day for us to get our shit together. Also, at the end of a hard day, give yourself a round of applause because this life shit is hard and you got to give yourself the.
And then he just left. And he just left. That was a mic drop.
I love y'all. Good night. I pray y'all have a beautiful night and y'all wake up well rested. And I pray that we each get one step closer to that vulnerability with ourselves.
Yes. Love y'all so much.
Be black, be gay, be well.
Yes, thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, all love.
See you guys Wednesday.
All love.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.